Continuing with the series of where I'm rebuilding this web page, which was previously built in Bubble using Dittofi. If you remember, last episode we got our mobile responsive nav bar working. So today we're going to work on this little hero or masthead section, basically placing the image below the nav bar here. Um, and do a little thing, a couple of things with that, and we'll see how far we get, whether or not we start putting the text in here. But so let's hop back over to Dittofi, and here's our current web page. So we're going to add first a div here under our navbar, and so we want to set some sizing on this. So width can stay auto. I want the height to be 800 pixels. Um, I am going to put a background color on this, and because I want the image to be a bit transparent to make it darker. So I'm going to put a background color on this, something like that. I think that'll be fine. And then to get it under the navbar here, there's a bunch of different ways you can do that, but I'm going to use negative value in the margin. So negative 75, and that's because our nav bar here is 75. So I'm going to just use negative 75 margin on the top to scoot that up. Okay. Now the next thing I want to do is drop in my image. Search for the image element, drop it in here. You can see it's kind of behind the nav bar. So if I select the image, I want to go in here and set the sizing. So width, I want to remain, actually no, width I don't want to be auto, width I want to be 100%. So I'll do that. The height is going to be 800 pixels. I want the overflow to be hidden. I want the fit to be cover. And I want this, as I mentioned before, to be transparent. So we're going to go with like 50% transparent. And then the image I'm going to use is one I've uploaded here. So it's in my public files. It's this image here. And there we go. So that's what we've got. Now, if I go back to just for reference, so if I make the opacity 100% again, you can see how bright that makes the picture. So having that background set on the div and then reducing the opacity of the image, I think just makes it, when you place text on top of this, it's going to show up just a whole lot better. So I'm going to build this. And let me look at one more thing while that's building. So my mobile section, you'll actually see the menu here is sitting essentially behind the image, right? So I'm clicking on the image, I can't get to the menu. So if I open up my navigator, I want to find my div with that menu in it. And so the way you can accomplish this, if you go back to position, you can see we've got an absolute because we always want it sitting 75 pixels below the top. So if you come in here to the Z index and just put a kind of a high value on it, when you do that, it means it's going to sit on top of everything. So that will fix the issue there of that not being on top. So let me go ahead and actually build the code once again. And then once that's all done, just a couple more seconds here, we'll do a preview. Do a preview. And you can see this looks pretty good. When I scroll down, click there, there's my mobile menu. Okay, so that's all working right. I actually want to do a couple more things. So I'm gonna go back to my general setting here. And I want this to have essentially no background because I want to be able to, really see the image and and just have the nav bar sitting on top of the image. So I'm going to remove the background altogether. But in mobile view, all right, so essentially when I click the button, you can see here how this menu now has a background. So when I click this button, I also want to give my nav bar a background, just so it's sort of consistent, if you will. So, so here's what I've done, or what I'm going to do. So I need to add a little custom class here. So if I scroll down, I've added this class of navbar background, right? So how can I set that? So I'm going to actually write a little custom function to do this. And here's what I'm going to do. So first of all, in my settings here, you can see that I've got this with an ID of navbar. So I'm going to go into my little templates here, and you see that I've got just a very basic little JavaScript function, right, that is going to select that element by the ID, excuse me, and then it's going to toggle that class I selected. So that's all good there. So when I go into my front end actions, I've got my show mobile menu. And this is the one that's going to either hide or display the mobile menu. And so if I go in here, I also want to then run another custom function, and it's going to be mobile menu selected and return as menu selected. So now, essentially what happens is when the button's clicked, it should toggle the class um, for this navbar up here to give it a background. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to build my code. And we'll see if this is all working. All right, so that's complete. So we'll preview here. Okay, this is all looking like it should. It's got the navbar sitting on top of the image. I get here, I select this, and you can see now it also adds the class to the navbar, and then it removes it when I select it again. And so if you can see, actually what I'll do here is I'll inspect this. And you can actually watch this sort of happen. Let's make this responsive. And we'll just close this a little bit till we get our menu. Okay, so you can see that this is the nav bar, right? You can see with the ID here. So then when I select it, you can see that it's adding that nav bar background class, and you can see it down here as well. So it's just adding a background color with an opacity. Then if I click it again, it's removing that class from that element. So that has us to where we've got our image, our nav bar sitting on top of it. In the next episode, I'll go ahead and we'll add this text to the image.